interwebs, welcome to Let's Build Computers. Sorry about the camera flicker, it'll be sorted soon, I promise. Anyway, today we are looking at the Lian Li T60, which I'm just going to refer to as the T60 because pit stop is a really nerdy name for it. Anyway, this is an open case. This is a test bench case, which you can kind of see from the picture underneath these documents. So this is a flat pack affair. As you can see, it's a thin case. So we're going to build a test rig on this thing and just talk about these test cases in general, what they're good for and what they're not good for, and also, you know, it's something a bit different. So with me today is a friend and colleague, Tom. Say hello, Tom.
Hello, Tom.
You did the joke. You did the joke. So anyway,
I am wearing a sparkly dress. I am the assistant to your Jim Davidson.
Oh.
Okay, bad example.
Wow, look at all this. Look at all this. So yeah, so this is Tom's setup that we're going to do. He owns another computer shop nearby, and he's going to be using this as a wiping rig for wiping hard drives, testing hard drives, that kind of thing. So yeah, he said, "Oh, do you want to have a look at this case that I'm buying?" And I said, "Yeah, let's check it out." So let's unbox all. Well, yeah, we'll just take all this stuff out, and then we'll have a look through these instructions and see what we've got. So
yes. The thing with this case is that the very basic case that comes in the box doesn't have things like front USBs, it doesn't have front audio. Those are all additional extras you have to buy. So in our situation, or my situation, where I just want a standalone wiping rig, I don't need the front USB ports, I don't need the front audio. So it could be a really nice minimalist case, or just useful for bench testing, which is what this Raison Detra is.
How much did you pay for this basic setup?
This basic setup was just under £100.
Yeah, so it's got the same price tag as a premium case, but then it's Lian Li, and Lian Li are an expensive brand. But yeah, I'm expecting this to be really nice.
That's what I was expecting. Yeah. Lian Li produces quality cases.
Yeah, you don't see them very often these days. All right.
And at the end of the day, as we all know, so you want to have something that's going to do the service. Buying a £30 rare brand ain't going to cut it.
Did you see how much the optional extras were, like the front USB ports and stuff?
No, I didn't, in all honesty.
Were they on sale at the same place? Because the problem with optional extras for case is that you can never find them.
Yeah, because I bought this from another company. I'm not sure if we can mention them.
Yeah, you can.
I bought this from CCL Computers.
Okay, yep.
Just because it was slightly cheaper from them than it was from overclockers.
Yeah.
We're talking pounds and postage, and that's it.
Yeah.
So these are relatively similarly priced across all the various computer suppliers.
Fair enough. Cool. Okay, so here's our IKEA instructions, which are... It's all in English, thankfully. However, this looks complicated. There's... Good grief. Let's open it.
Well, at least you know the way to Narnia now.
Yeah. Alright, hang on a sec.
Okay. Mordor.
We have an assembly guide, and we have a Motterglintung, which presumably is German.
German for I am angry.
Yeah. So let's figure out what bit we need. I think Corrida de montage. And
you don't do assemblage.
Okay, right. I think it's just that bit we need. Oh, that's not so bad.
Yeah.
I thought we had to go through the whole thing. It looks like that's our whole thing. Cool. All right. So let's go ahead and unpackage all these bits in that case. So we'll take off all these plastic bits and then we'll put this thing together. So, right, let's do it. Let's take all these plastics off.
But as we can see here, the only thing that is included on the case interface-wise is literally the power button and a reset button.
Yeah, have we got power LEDs there?
Yeah.
I think they light up because we got the.
But it is a very minimalist case. There is not a lot of fluff.
I mean, initially when you said, "Oh, it doesn't come with front USB and stuff like that," I'm like, "Well, how the hell do you plug anything into it?" And then I was like, "Oh yeah, it's an open case. You just plug it into the back of the motherboard."
Yeah.
So I guess you don't really. That's all you really need, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's a case of we're going to be installing a DVD drive today, and I'm still antiquated and use DVDs just because some of this stuff we're using
it's a test rig and sometimes it's exactly what you need. So
you can't always get something to work on USB as easily as it is burning it as an ISO.
I mean, as a home runner, I don't think this is the right. I don't think this is a good case for a home computer. Like, I mean, if you want to fiddle with your PC all the time, then you want to buy one of Corsair's cases like the 400C, where you've just got the opening side panel, which is what I use here. And this is just so handy. However, if you're actually doing hardware testing and benchmarking and reviewing and stuff like that, then this case is definitely going to be superior, because like there are plenty of times where, although I can access the side of my PC very easily, you know, like changing out drives and the power supply and things like that, a little bit trickier. So I do fancy one of these myself. Right, so in the box of tricks, we've got a crap ton of screws and fittings. It does come with some nice rubber feet and everything as well. So, and some rubber strips. No idea where half of this stuff goes, so presumably the instructions will tell us all. Yeah. So let's
It'll tell us all in French, German, Spanish, and every other language on the planet Earth.
Right. Oh, yeah, it's come with a little beep speaker as well,
That's
just so
good.
you can plug one of those in, just in case you don't have one of those kicking around. Okay, so looking at these instructions, I mean, the first thing I notice is that they're showing where the screws go, but it's not very clear exactly what I'm looking at here. These instructions, at first glance, are not particularly clear. I'm sure we can figure this out, but, like, for example, it's not even telling me, well, it says bottom panel, so yeah, I guess I can match that up to bottom panel there. So, I don't know, it's okay, but I don't know, I feel like I want a bit of a wider angle shot on this that explain exactly how it goes together. So, although there are videos out there, like, was it CCL had done a video on this case, hadn't they?
CCL done and Newegg had done.
Yeah, oh, that's right, it was the Newegg one you linked me to. So yeah, Newegg have done a good video on how to put one of these together. Or failing that, you can watch us do it right now. So, okay, well, let's make a start.
Let's get started with Chuckle Vision.
Okay, right, so I'm going to move all of this to one side, and I'm going to start from where they tell me to, which is with the bottom panel, which is apparently this thing. So I have very little. There we go. I have very little understanding of what any of these bits are yet. So I'm hoping that this is going to be one of those do-it-yourself kits that all seems to come together at the last minute.
It seems to be the lips are pointing up, which they are on there.
Yes, I agree with that. So let's turn that around to the same orientation, which is that, and put the bottom feet on. There we go, feet attached.
Hey,
Now we're rolling.
The feet bone connected to the neck bone.
Right, PSU support bracket with rubber pad. Okay, so apparently we've got two of those. That goes on like that, apparently.
Here's one I prepared earlier today.
Aha, there we go. So there's our two PSU support brackets. This is all really nice anodized aluminium, by the way. This is all really high quality stuff.
Yeah, it comes in silver, black, and red.
Yeah. Again, this is what you're paying for with Lian Li. If you bought this from another company, this would just be like stamped steel kind of thing. But this is really good quality. And, you know, it's not spray painted, that's anodized, so that's going to be really hard wearing. That won't scratch. Use a screw to secure the PSU support bracket on the right panel. Okay, so those are our PSU support brackets. And once again, hang on a sec, let me just show you guys this picture. So those must be our A screws, because we've only got 6 of them.
Yeah.
Yep, okay, so here are our A screws, so let's plug those in.
Does that make me the Sherlock or the Watson in this relationship? Alright. And if we bring out the PSU we tried that was purchased earlier, we'll see.
That sits on there.
That sits on there quite nicely.
And so because that is actually suspended, you could put the PSU either way up as well, which is interesting. So, yeah. I'm not sure which way up it's designed to be yet. However, you could theoretically put it either way up, so that's also good to know.
But it fits.
Yep, good stuff. Okay, right. That's going to go onto there, I think.
Yep. My God, it fits.
And so there's the back plate of the PSU, and again, as you can see, it's got holes in all positions, so you can mount the power supply in basically any orientation. And it's got very, very wide cutouts on it as well. So so if you've got a power supply where the IEC connector is right up against the side of it, that's still going to fit. So I've seen that before on cases where it doesn't want to fit in a certain orientation because, like for example, this bit here will come all the way up the side and it will just cover up the power connector slightly and stuff like that. So yeah, very wide compatibility by the looks of things. Right, what's next? Yeah, those holes line up. So I think these things go together. However, it hasn't actually told us to put them together. So yeah. Oh, there it is. Oh no, that is. Oh, that is what it's saying. It's telling us to do two things. Okay, so yeah, we've got to screw these two together, and then we put in the rubber rings, which are our anti-vibration mounts for the hard drive cage.
Ah, so we've got 12 of them, so I need to dig all 12 out.
May as well. Yeah,
yeah,
may as well fit them. May as well populate it. That's what it's there for. Yeah. Okay, so we want.
We must repopulate the case.
That's cool. So it looks like they've put in quite a few spares for bits and bobs, which is always nice. So, you know, if one of these jumps out and falls down the back of the sofa, you don't have to bother going to find it. You can get your spare one out. So, okay.
The spare one, love.
There we go. Okay, so now our hard drive cage slides in like that. And we can now put some thumb screws on the other side to secure that in place. Yeah, that's all right. It's
got some
a little bit rattly. We're not supposed to put any, because those springs are supposed to prevent this movement, but there is still movement there. Those kind of need to be rubber mounted, really, or something. But it'll be okay. It'll be all right. But
yeah, I mean, if your hard drive's vibrating and hard enough to shake that properly,
you'd be surprised. You know, if it just gets a bit of resonance on it, we'll just start going. You know, you'll hear that. So we'll see. I mean, time will tell if it turns into a problem or not.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
If it does, we just bodge it.
Yeah. All right, I think we've done page 1. So that's done. Our hard drive cage is in. Okay, right, so we have now so there are hangers for our DVD drive, which are now on the correct side of the motherboard tray. So it now makes a bit more sense. They've got that extra overhang there. So yeah, DVD drives accessible from the front, 2 of them. So we can have one of them that will be a resident in the computer, and another one could be slid in for testing if you need to test DVD drives for some bizarre reason. So yeah, there's our tray. Okay, right, Mr. Instructions, what's next? So,
well, Graham.
all right, so now this is going on to the main body. So use B screws, that's the thumb screws, to secure motherboard tray onto the left-right panel. All right, so that means that is going to go in there. So presumably it goes in about there, I think. That's the middle one. Or we can move it back forward to there, which I think will be where you would want it. Yeah. So let's put it in the forward position, because you're going, as you say, you're going to have that up against the wall. It's just so fascinating. All right, there we go. This thing's starting to come together now. So, right, let's keep going. What's next? Okay, right. Next on the agenda. Oh. I was about to say this feels fairly front heavy, but I think by the time you've got a power supply in there, that's going to actually be weighted down. Right, yes, I think you might be right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we've got the top tray the wrong way around. Which, if you think about it,
oh yes,
when you're using it, you've got the plug is going in
here.
That's
the back. We have put it on the wrong way around. You're correct. Yeah, but yes, very easily solved. There we go. And just before we put that back on, just point you guys out. So there was the front with our DVD mounts, and then now on the back we've now got 2.5 inch. We've now got a 2.5 inch cage there for 2.5 inch hard drives or 2.5 inch SSDs. All right. So next we need to do motherboard standoffs, and we need to put the PCI hold down bracket on the back. So yeah, do you want to start doing the PCI brackets, which require the D screws? So again, the common screws. 6 of them, and I will put some standoffs on it. Yeah. I suppose to a certain extent, some people might want to just be able to unscrew this and just ditch this, so they don't have to screw the graphics cards in.
Yeah.
So they can just go plonk plonk, rip out, rip out.
Yeah.
But then you could still do that and have the supporting bracket there. So
yeah,
I don't understand why this thing pivots. I don't see the benefit of that.
Yeah.
I guess it's just construction. Right, done. All right. Okay, so the handle, apparently that just slides into there, which begs the question why they don't just do that from the factory, but okay. Fasten with H screws. All right, done. Okay. Combine to left and right panel with B screw, which is the thumb screws. Nice.
Hey.
All right. Okay, right. I think we're done, aren't we? Have we run out of bits? Oh yeah, the motherboard extension. So what does the motherboard? How does? Okay, so then the motherboard extension. So this thing can attach to the back here. So if you've got your tray hanging all the way off the back, then it basically stops it from toppling over backwards.
So and I think as we've got two of those left.
Yeah, so that goes on there. So now, based on the orientation that we've set that up, I don't think you need that fitted personally.
No, this is whether we want to do it for completeness. So.
Yeah, I would leave it off personally.
Yeah.
But however we put it there, that's what it does. It stops it from toppling over if you have the motherboard tray at an extreme amount of adjustment.
Yeah, because this case is designed to take everything from full ATX.
That's right.
And down.
However, because we've deliberately oriented it very far forward, so you can put it up against the back of a wall, then yeah, we don't actually need that to be there. That's not going to topple over. Not by the time you've got drives and a power supply and all the rest of it in.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's leave that off for now, and then you can always attach that back at base if you need it. Cool, right. Well, in that case, we're all done. So there is our completed case. So what we're going to do now, we're going to tidy up all the bits and pieces we've got lying around, and then we'll assemble in this thing. Okay, so we finished assembling our IKEA computer case.
The Bjorn.
Yeah. There's some marks all over it where we put fingerprints on it and stuff like that. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll wipe it down once we've done the computer build. Because we're probably going to put a load more fingerprints all over it when we're actually building in it. So yeah, first things first, this thing is going to attract fingerprints like nothing else you've ever seen. That's the downside of anodized aluminium. It's really hard to keep the fingerprints off of it. Now, like for example, my gaming rig at home is in an anodized aluminium case, and I clean that and wipe it down and use multi-surface polish on it every now and then. However, a case like this, you're going to be fingering it all the time. That's what it's for. So it's going to be hard to keep it clean, but you know, whatever. That's not a downside to the case. So in terms of the rest of it, this is cool. I've seen benchtop cases before, and one of my criticisms of them are that they're very space inefficient. They take up a lot of space for what they do, and they're just kind of awkward, and I'm not a huge fan of them, to be honest. However, this one, I really like the design of this. Its actual footprint is actually really small. The bottom of the case is just those 4 feet. So you do not need a lot of space to put this thing up. And because you can adjust the position of the main motherboard tray, the motherboard tray can move forwards and backwards. It means that you can adjust whether it's backed up against a wall or whether it's hanging off the front of a shelf. So there's lots of adjustment in this thing.
I mean, the position we put it in, there's enough space at the back now, as if we show.
Yeah.
There's a gap. There's enough of a gap between there that we can hide the power cables, we can hide some of the SATA cables, and it will still look tidy against the wall.
Yeah. So yeah, the only other thing I noticed is that there's a reasonable amount of flex side to side there. You know, that's probably going to reduce once you've actually got components in there. The more you add to this, the stiffer it's going to get. However, bear in mind, this is not a steel cage kind of thing. It is just, it's aluminium sheets. So it has got some flex and some give in it. But finally, of course, the other big thing is this carry handle is really good. That's a really nice, big, heavy carry handle. I would pick this up fully loaded and have absolute confidence in that carry handle. Whereas a lot of bench cases, they tend to be a bit plasticky and you've got to sort of pick them up from the bottom and sort of wander around. Whereas this, you could just pick that up and just hoof it across your workshop with it. So that's super convenient. Right, we've got a load of components that have come out of another rig that we're going to put in this thing now. We've got an i3 platform. We've got a brand new power supply for that as well. DVD drive and some other bits and pieces. Actually, I think that's about it, isn't it? We haven't got any hard drives for this yet. That's fine. We've got enough to actually put some stuff in it just to show you what it looks like with some hardware in there. So we're going to assemble this thing and we'll see how easy it is to assemble in it. So, I mean, the instructions told us to put this stuff in as we were building, but as far as I'm concerned, I want to know how easy it is to assemble in this case from this position, because as far as I'm concerned, part of the objective of this is to swap bits in and out of it very quickly. So let's see how long it takes us to do that. Right, okay, I'll let you do this bit since I did most of the assembly. So yeah, crack on.
I think I'll put it there just because that way it sort of covers some of the PSU stuff.
Yeah. The PSU is probably not going to come out very often, whereas you want a lot of hand-grabby space to get to the hard drive bay, don't you? Although, to be honest, I would imagine you'll probably get lazy and have hard drives hanging off of this thing, flapping in the breeze a lot of the time, won't you?
It's like you know me.
That's what I do anyway. I have hard drives hanging out of my case all the time, so...
I've just noticed one great flaw in the design of why we do this piecemeal.
Yeah.
I can't screw in the other side of this cage.
Oh, you're kidding?
And you can't screw the back ones in. So if I spin that around, can't screw those in because they're just out of angle. Can't screw the other side in. Now, it doesn't matter on a DVD drive because we're not going to be physically pushing.
Yeah.
But this is probably why, one of the reasons why they said we should assemble it.
Yeah. However, yeah, that's...
but at least with 2 screws in it, we've sort of fixed its position.
That much being said, if we're on the forwardmost point, if this was 1 notch to the back, you'd be able to get to those screws through that hole there.
Yeah.
So that would be okay. So then you could at least screw it in on both sides. And with those 2 screws there, that's going to be fine. That's not going to go anywhere. Well, that much being said, it does
yeah,
does
if
flap
we're
about
carrying it around.
Yeah, it's not ideal. And I mean, yeah, I guess you could get it in there with a little bit of work. I mean, yeah, the DVD drives are not particularly hot swap per se. That's not a deal breaker, but just an observation.
Yeah, that's it.
So, yeah.
Sort of, this is not mean.
Yeah. I'll let you put that in as much or as little as you want.
And then the tiny, tiny motherboard.
So what would you do? Would you have those going around like that? Or would you have those going around like that?
I think...
That's a bit of a...
Yeah.
But either way is doable. I think it would be easier coming down the front. It's not as pretty.
But pretty isn't what this thing's about.
That's right.
I mean, yes, it's got its certain character and charm, but...
It needs like a couple. It needs like a couple of holes around the outer edges of where the motherboard could go, so you can put your SATA cables through there.
That would make a lot of sense.
Because then the cables would be contained within the cage of the case, as it were.
Yeah.
Whereas at the moment, those do have to just come out on the outside like that and just flap in the breeze.
And I mean, luckily we've got these holes here.
Oh yeah, that would work. So that's better than nothing, I guess. But
it's not ideal. Whereas holes in the bottom of the cage would have been...
If they just had a couple of holes around the outside, because I mean, obviously, a full-size ATX motherboard is probably only going to come out to about there-ish. So you'd have room for it. What you spotted? We're missing one there as well.
Missing one stand-off, I think we'll be fine.
Well, you're going to have this board in here most of the time, aren't you?
Yeah.
And also that one's where you plug in. I would do it properly. That's not. Yeah, don't be lazy.
So now we can.
So yeah, what are you going to do with those then? I mean, yeah, let's just turn it around. So you can see. So you can see these just kind of hang out here, but I guess that's fine, really, isn't it? I mean, there's a couple of holes here and here, so I guess you could zip tie them in somewhere or something. Or are there any? Yeah, what would be kind of nice? I suppose you could buy some, but you could get you can get those little sticky pads that have it's a plastic square with a sticky back that you can just put onto the metal, and it just provides a hole for you to put zip ties through. You could put a couple of those underneath the motherboard tray or on the inside of the side struts, just so you could zip tie some of these cables back, I suppose. But again, tidiness is not the focus of this case, so it feels a bit weird just leaving the cables hanging around like that. But that's the idea, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fine. It's not doing anyone any harm at any rate. So I guess I'll run this SATA cable out the back for the DVD drive.
Yeah, and I'll run
the DVD drive that doesn't need to be out the front. Whoop.
And again, sort of feeding the cable through. We're not putting too much strain on the motherboard by pulling it too taut.
Yeah, so that can feed through. So that's then gone through the back of the hard drive cage like so it can hang out at the front. Alternatively, you could run that just straight off the front of the case. But I think we don't have a hard drive to connect to this right now, so we'll leave it there for the time being. However, I would wager that this time next week you're going to have that flapping out over the front.
Yeah,
would be my guess. So yeah, right. I think that's everything.
Just the power connectors.
Oh yeah. Get all those dudes plugged in. There's not really any cable dump space just to sort of store the excess power supply cables either, really.
No.
I mean, even if you were using I think you need to go 180 degrees on that.
Yeah, probably do.
Even if you were using a modular power supply with one of these, you'd still want a couple of chains just hanging out the front ready for use anyway. But there's no cubby hole or hook or anything like that. So again, it just what would be nice. I don't know exactly how I'd design it, but I'd want just like a hook where I can just grab this bundle and just hook it or something. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, really. I like the verticality of this, though. That's what I really like about this case. I like how it's just stacking upwards. And there's huge amounts of space here. You could put a big-ass motherboard on this, no problem. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 PCI slots here down the back. Most cases are 6 to 7. So, we've got 8 slots down there. That's the space for a huge motherboard.
It kind of looks like we've got the wrong size motherboard in it.
Yeah, it does. And you could have an extended ATX board that could hang all the way out to here. So, big obnoxious gamer boards or even server boards hanging out this far. And that's going to be fine. And, you've got three mechanical drives in there. You could bolt a fourth onto the top there if one was so inclined. There's bodge space there. So, and yeah, it's all you need, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like we were saying earlier, the two primary users of this are going to be people hot swapping parts.
Yeah.
Or using, like I am, as a bench table.
Yeah. Although, personally, I can't help but think that for 70 quid, they could have included the front panel connectors as a standard thing, not as an optional extra.
For 100 quid.
For 100 quid?
Yeah, just under 100 quid.
Yeah.
Sort of 97 quid delivery.
Yeah, that's just it.
And I mean, at the end of the day, this doesn't need to be too tidy. Half the beauty of it is how rough it looks.
Yeah. Yeah, as I say, I think it's a lot of money, but then you're paying for the Lian Li badge, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is excellent quality. None of this has felt cheap. It's, the thinnest thing we've got here. Where's my caliper? I mean, the thinnest part of this is 1.5 mil, and like these side struts, that's all 2.5 mil aluminium. So it's all big, heavy aluminium construction here, and even built. We haven't got a hard drive yet in it
anymore.
Yeah, that is stiffening up, but even with that little bit of wobble on, it feels confident. It doesn't have that it doesn't have that flexible bending feel to it.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, the tin...
It doesn't feel like a cheap £30 kit.
Well, yeah, it doesn't feel... Doesn't feel like that thing over there that we took all these components out of. That's just a tin box, that is. Whereas, you know, this thing's actually quality. So yeah. Nice. All right, so there we have it. I think we're as done as we're going to be with this. So I mean, it seems like it's all hairy with all the wires sticking out of it. But as we've been saying, that's the point of the thing. But you know, you could change out any component in this build in a couple of minutes, and it's fine. And like, I suppose part of me is kind of happy about it not having the tidying cables. I want cable management and stuff like that just from force of habit. But then if you had all the cable management, every time you're fitting something, you'd be like, no, I've got to put it through all the cable management and stuff. Just build the thing. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
You know, it's designed to throw together. So, yeah.
This is a Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah, absolutely. It is expensive. You know, I'm not going to lie. I think it's a lot of money. But on the other hand, for one of those cases that you're going to build in and be fiddling with constantly every day of the week, I think it's worth investing that bit of extra money in it instead of having that piece of crap tin box that you use for testing that you're constantly swearing at and constantly cuts your hands to ribbons, you know. So yeah, I like it. I think it's great.
You could probably bolt on a water cooling rig onto that or something and make it really flashy.
Well, I mean, it's got the optional twin fan blower, which does that go at the front, does it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, I mean, you could stick a water cooler on that.
Yeah.
I mean, you could use it as a main rig, and you could use it as a LAN box because just the pick up and go value to it. I mean, there are a lot of cases that have got handles on them, but there's not very many of them which you'd actually want to carry by the handles.
That's actually
and also,
sturdy carry.
And more to the point, you can one-hand that, whereas cases that do have good sturdy handles, you still need to pick them up at both ends of the tower kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's good. You could build a main computer in this, but you'd have to be one of those weird people because also, like, as a general use computer, it would take up a lot of space.
Yeah,
I mean,
you would have to have it on a desk.
Yeah,
you would have to keep it. You have to dust it frequently.
Yeah,
and you run the risk of things getting damaged if the cat jumps on it or.
Yeah, that's right. It's exposed. Yeah, you're right.
Whereas, like my case at the moment, or your case, my cat jumps on the top of my computer.
Not a problem.
And then jumps on my desk.
Yeah.
So it's a case of, if I had an open case, the cat touches the wrong thing, the computer goes, woo.
Yeah.
And I've now got to fix it. So it's I think it's subjective.
Yeah. I wouldn't use it as a main case, but you could. If one was so inclined.
You could build something quite fancy out of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you spent time, you could route all the cables and you could pin them down or zip tie them down so they're all like cable tidy pawn and stuff.
Yeah,
and that would be an interesting build to have an open case that's cable tidy pawned.
Well, I've got a spare cable tidy in the shop. Yeah, like the one of the zip ones that sort of.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
So I could cable tidy it.
If one, yeah. And I wouldn't bother, but you could, I think is the fact.
That's what I'm suggesting.
Yeah.
That it is doable, and like we're saying, mount a water cooler on there, or you could stick a 220 radiator on there.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's got flexibility.
Yeah. Alright, thanks for watching everyone.
He's Graham.
Yeah, he's been Tom. And we'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching, and goodbye for now.
What do you mean past tense? He's been Tom.
He has been Tom at some point in time.
Like, what do you mean past tense?
Fade to black.